Episode number 228, Camaro 6, No Regrets. Welcome to the Camaro Show.
A podcast about all things Camaro and GM performance news.
I'm Chris Frezza.
And I'm Jason Debler.
We're your hosts for this week's episode of the Camaro Show. Want to be part of our show? It's easy.
Just leave a message on our voicemail hotline at 586-486-3182.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And welcome back, everyone, for another exciting episode of the Camaro Show. I'm Chris.
I'm Jason.
What's up, dude? What's
Just
going on?
enjoying what's the left of the summer, although it feels like it's going to be summer for a long time.
I hope so.
Nice and toasty out there.
Yeah.
Working on my
beautiful.
car, playing with my Corvette.
That's cool. Yeah, it's been pretty beautiful here, too, man. The humidity is really cut out, and mid-80s every day, sunshine. Hasn't rained. I mean, I just got back from a little mini vacation with Vito to a water park in Ohio, but it rained a little bit there. But here, it's been great. It's just been beautiful weather.
That was all indoor, right?
Yeah, it's an indoor water park.
Yeah.
There is some attractions outside, but we pretty much stay inside because all the big tubes and wave pool and lazy
Habit
river
trail.
and all that's inside, and it's fun as hell.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Hope everybody else that's listening to this episode and listens to our show is having good times and good weather where they're at. And if they're not, then make some good times and move somewhere else. That's the advice from Dr. Debler here.
Yeah.
So we've got a pretty cool show this week. We're going to talk about the Camaro 6 design having no regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets. Let's see here. How good is a stock Camaro ZL1 1LE on the track? Better than I thought it would be by comparison. And we're going to talk about some competition. Got an email, and we're going to talk about, maybe if we got the time, what it costs a drag racer to drop the F-bomb on live television.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, oh man, let's get into this. Camaro 6, no regrets.
No regrets. So our good buddy Manny, who's now with Muscle Cars and Trucks, had a sit down this week with Tom Peters. We all know Tom Peters.
Yeah.
Exterior designer, Camaro, 5th gen Camaro, 6th gen Camaro, the Corvette, the C8. In fact, the C8, I saw him on the broadcast when they unveiled the C8. We all know Tom. He had a sit down with him, and he did an article about 6th gen Camaro exterior. What would you change? Basically, in a nutshell, nothing.
Nothing.
Not even one letter.
No regrets.
No regrets. Let me read a little bit from the article. It's the 6th generation Camaro stands on its own 2 feet as the best handling muscle car pony car that has been so far been sold. From the base turbo model all the way up to the ZL1 1LE, the vehicle family is stacked lineup of athletes, and everybody paying attention seems to recognize this. However, where the dynamics of the American icon are unanimously agreed upon, a point of controversy nevertheless remains strong enthusiasts the design. And now, let me just veer off here for a second. We've talked about this many times in the past, and it's not that the design is bad. I think it was that the design from the 5th gen to the 6th gen we've heard is too similar. That's what we've heard. Some vocalize their adoration for the styling direction of the 6th generation Chevrolet pony car. Even the controversial 2019 model year refresh, which has been adjusted for the 2020 model year. Others criticize the car as being too similar to the 5th gen model or even unattractive. So we asked the person tasked with overseeing its shape to see if he had any regrets. Simply put, nope, said Tom Peters, 6th generation Camaro exterior designer. When asked if there was anything he would change regarding the car's styling, hindsight 2020. Peters retired from General Motors earlier this year and also oversaw styling direction for the 5th generation Camaro as well as the 6th, C7, and C8 Corvette. We had the same team working on the Camaro and the C7. We wanted to add more sculpture, more flavor, and more unique shape to the 6th gen. In comparison to the more literal throwback design language of the 5th gen from 2010 to 2015, much in the same way that C8 avoided literal design cues from previous cores, like such as the split rear window.
Which it almost had.
Peters also mentioned that there was a lot of excitement to design the pony car on a nimble alpha platform, an architecture that continues to dominate in ride and handling comparison tests. As MCNT first reported, the Chevrolet Camaro is not transitioning onto the updated A2 architecture that underpins the upcoming Cadillac CT4, CT5, which will also be built alongside the Camaro at the Lansing Grand River Assembly Plant, launching this year. Despite this, the life cycle for the 6th-gen Camaro is charted until 2023. So let's talk about this. We know Tom. Tom's a great guy. Basically, him and his team put forth what they have with the current architecture and that design, and he's sticking to it. He loves it. I mean, I love it too. I bought the dang car.
Yeah.
A lot of people criticized that they didn't change enough from the 5th gen to the 6th gen.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they say it's a complete abomination for 2019, which they once again went back to 2020, put the bow tie back up, moved some stuff. If I was head of design for that too, I wouldn't say I had any regrets either.
Yeah. Tom's a straight shooter.
Yeah.
Remember we sat next to him when they officially announced that the 5th gen Camaro was coming?
Yeah. Yeah.
Over
and
there he
in
was
Warren.
just hanging out with us. He's super
Tom,
approachable.
It was Sang-Yup Lee, who was also who didn't. I got that picture hanging up in my office right here.
I still have mine hanging up too. Yeah. So, man, that's cool to hear though. It's a lot of times they'll say something like, well, in hindsight, now that we know what we know, I think we might have. Nope. He's like, nope.
We did what we did, and I'm sticking to it. That's honorable.
Yep, it is.
It was funny when I shared this article to a couple different Camaro forums on Facebook, and I can tell people just read the headline, right? Because some guy responded with, "That dude should be fired for what he did to 2019." I wanted to reply, "Bro, he retired."
Bruh.
The dude, he's already retired. So people like to just read just headlines too, instead of actually getting to the meat of the article.
Bruh.
Exactly.
Good for you, Tom. Stick to your guns, brother.
Yeah. Happy retirement.
Yeah, that's right. Too cool. Let's talk about the power. The power.
Pure power.
Of the Camaro ZL1 1LE. Gosh, I saw a video earlier taking on the half mile, and that was impressive. That's also muscle cars and trucks. But then this one, it's taking on race cars, like full on race cars. This is neat. I can't help but watch this a few times.
It is.
It's on the road course. It was a Mercedes-Benz GT4 IMSA race car, and it was holding its own. That's, I mean, dude, that is so cool. Now here's the thing: everybody forgets about driving ability when it comes to bench racing.
Right.
So you got the right person behind the wheel, first of all. But still, I'm sure it's not an amateur driving that Mercedes-Benz GT4 car.
Well, if you see the little thing on the video, it says, "I was told he was the driver who won the Mazda MX-5 Cup." Good driver.
Yeah, so he's doing something right. That's just too cool, man. It's scary at the same time. Meanwhile, I wonder if the driver of the Mercedes is going, "What the heck is going on behind me?" He's right on me.
Yeah. I mean, people who race, they got to know that these ZL1 1LEs, they have to know about them,
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's just another Camaro. It's a Camaro.
Guess what, bitch? On your ass. I mean, I'm sure that you couldn't do endurance racing. Well, maybe you could. I don't know.
And part of the article says, while the Camaro ZL1 1LE has a massive power advantage over the GT4, as it makes 650 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque, it's substantially heavier. The particular 1LE also has the 6-speed manual transmission equipped, which is slower to shift than the Mercedes 6-speed sequential box, as well as the optional 10-speed automatic Chevrolet offers from the factory. Despite the two cars being dramatically different in their approach, the resulting track session is definitely worth a watch. So I'm going to link this up in the show notes and take a look. I would love to play with PDR, man.
God, that would be cool.
Yeah. Do you have that capability on your Vet?
Well, I got a Kenwood head unit on it.
Yeah. Do you have cameras?
I don't know if I could with the head unit. I've never tried it. I just think it's funny to turn on the front camera while I'm driving.
Yeah.
Because it was honestly, for the most part, for parking.
Sure.
Because I have bad depth perception. I'll say that, and a C6 Corvette doesn't help. Yeah. So. Oh man, stiff competition for the GT4. You want to talk about some other competition? Let's talk about the Camaro's competition.
Yeah.
2020 Ford Mustang GT500 can go 0 to 100 to 0 in 10.6 seconds.
Okay.
That was a test originally started by, I think it was Carroll Shelby, for his Shelby AC Cobras that he built.
Oh, okay.
And at first I read this article wrong, because I was reading it. They said it can go to 0 to 0 with a stop at 100 in between. I'm like, that's just a stupid way to write the title. But according to a recent test by Motor Trend, the 10.6 second beats all the times of all the Mustang's current muscle car rivals, with the Camaro ZL1 requiring 11.1 seconds, which we don't know if that's the 1LE ZL1. I don't know if it makes a difference. Okay. And the heavy, flat big Dodge Challenger Hellcat Redeye at 11.8 seconds. But then it says that the Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 does it in 10.4, 0.2 of a second faster. And I'm like, and that's in standard form, and 9.7 seconds with his optional rear downforce wing. I'm like, wait a minute. But it says, however, the magazine figures typically come from adding separate 0 to 100 runs and then 100 to 0 braking tests, rather than a single start and then straight to stop.
Oh, so that's two separate tests and they combine them together.
Yeah, which I didn't. When I've heard the 0 to 100 to 0, claims, I didn't know that was always two separate tests. I thought it was just exactly the way they did that with the 2020 Mustang GT500.
Interesting.
0 to 100 to 0 in one shot.
Right.
And that is very, very impressive. It's also going to be really, really expensive.
Yeah.
But I know you're not a Mustang fan, and I don't mind them. I think they're all right.
I saw one of those new GT500s on the road driving back from Kalahari.
Oh, did you?
Yep. Driving right down I-75 right there where the plant is. An unplated GT500.
Really?
Yep.
Whew.
It was black. It was black on black on black on black.
That's the blackest thing to come to Blackville since whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta stop watching Quentin Tarantino movies.
Yeah.
That it's impressive either way. So, good job, Ford. I guess we're gonna have to one up that too.
Yeah.
What we got? What's our story for voicemails, buddy?
We have no voicemails this week.
Why do we not have any voicemails, buddy?
I don't know. I checked it and it was bare. The voicemails were bare. Not even Postal Dave.
Yeah, that's all right. Oh boy. Well, cool. Well, we got to get some voicemails in. We love them. You need to leave some. Chris, tell them how.
Hey, want to be part of this show?
Well, we want to hear from you.
Just hit our digits at 586-486-3182, 24 hours a day.
Leave us a message, and we'll feature it in an upcoming show.
So what are you waiting for? Do it now.
We do have somewhat of a message, though. It didn't come through email, did it?
It did come through email, actually. Oh. It was filled out on the forum at CamaroShow.com. This comes from somebody we know, Harv Caruza from Frankfort, Illinois. He listens to the show on iTunes. And he says, so, GM, that's how I read it in my brain. Oh. So GM spent almost $500 million, $439 million, to retool the Corvette plant. Can only imagine what R&D costs would be on top of that. Not complaining. Just thinking that maybe that's why there's no more Camaro. In other news, drag racing legend John Force got his 150th win driving a specially modified Camaro. This Camaro was designed by GM engineers in GM's wind tunnel to withstand 330 mile per hour speeds. Okay, Harv. Interesting. Yeah, they spent $500 million to retool the Corvette plant. R&D costs, I don't know if they rolled the R&D cost into that financial number. I didn't.
I have no idea how that works.
No, neither. But just thinking that's why there's no more Camaro. Well, that's not been confirmed. There's no more Camaro. The signs aren't great. But no, they would not take away funds from something that was doing well according to the books and shuffle them to something that was also doing well.
Yeah.
It has to be not doing well for them to say, guess what? We're going to reallocate the remaining funds.
Right.
So, it's easy to think that, but boy, I know from viewing from a distance, experience viewing from a distance, that it's a lot more complicated than just, let's just get rid of that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, aren't they still trying to? There was a big fat lawsuit about the 4th gen Camaro leaving Oshawa, and I wonder if it's still going on.
The 4th gen?
Was it 4th? Was it 4th? Or maybe it was the 5th gen. Maybe I'm getting my lawsuits mixed up with each other.
Oh, that I don't know.
Well, my point is it has to be very carefully done.
Yeah.
They do it for all the right reasons. It takes more than one board meeting to make that decision.
There's so many things that have to that have to get lined up. I mean, from the unions to the suppliers to, you got to have all your ducks in a row. You can't just go in and say done. Otherwise, people picket, and you saw what happened here last November.
Yeah. Yes, we did. So the other part, in other Camaro news, drag racing legend John Force, 150th win.
Wow.
Yeah, good for John Force. He's 70 years old. I understand that his racing started declining, his racing ability and just everything started declining a few years ago because he got injured at SEMA by some gorilla, wasn't watching where he was going, and just clotheslined him.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, 70 years old, still winning. 150th win, and if you search around, especially if you go to the article on Dragzine, celebrates in the most epic fashion by dropping the F-bomb 3 times on live television. According to the FCC, that's $47,340 per violation. So I don't know if the 3 times was considered one or if it was considered 3 separate times. If it was 3 separate times, $142,050 is what it would cost him. And that's probably the assumption is that's about what he made for winning that race.
Wow. He's 70 years old.
He's 70 years old, and he's still badass. He is. Especially modified, made that win in a specially modified Camaro. I humbly disagree with that. The only thing that's actually Camaro about it is the sticker on the windshield that says Camaro and the stickers that make it look like Camaro headlights and such.
Yeah.
And the Camaro was designed by GM engineers in GM's wind tunnel to withstand 300. John Force Racing has their own build shop. I don't think GM engineers spend too much time on drag racing because there's a lot more money. You might have rented it or something.
Yeah,
wind tunnel. But,
yeah.
But I don't think GM engineers really have a whole lot to do with building funny cars. I may be wrong, but I've never heard that they were. Yeah. Either way, good for John Force, good for John Force Racing, and good for the representation of the Camaro.
Yeah. Wow.
That's how I'm going to say it. Harv, always good to hear from you. Thanks for emailing in.
I used to watch his reality show back in the day on A&E. Him and his daughters racing.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
I can't remember the name of it. What was it called? Forrest? Let me see. I'm on his Wikipedia page right now. When was that? Because I don't think he was with Chevrolet then. I think he was with Ford, right?
Yeah, he was with... He used to... excuse me. He used to drive with sponsorship under Pontiac for a while. And then he switched to Ford for a long time. And I remember being a fan of John Force, and I met him once or twice, just to say, hey, how do you do? I was always a fan of him because I know that for a long time he struggled. A long time.
Did he?
Yeah. He was a truck driver, and he drag raced on the side when he could. And he suffered a lot of wrecks, a lot of setbacks, and now, he's winning as funny car driver in history. I don't know, when he switched to Ford, he was making a big deal about it in typical John Force fashion. He's very animated. And then I think he said something like, yeah, they don't even have a Camaro anymore or something like that. I'm like, oh, God. But now he's back with a Camaro-themed funny car.
Yeah.
I got to be careful about
it. It says he's been active since 1978. He's won 16 championships. His car number's 9. His best ET is 3.832. And that was on March 17th of 2017 in Gainesville, Florida. His best speed was 337.16 miles per hour, and that was set on July 29, 2017 at Sonoma, California.
Man. What's John Force worth? $12 million.
Wow.
You would think for somebody who's done that for that long would be worth more money than that.
He's got a whole family of racers now too. A lot of his daughters, his son-in-laws, because I think he's got all. Oh yeah, right here, related to Ashley Force Hood, his daughter, Brittany Force, Courtney Force, Robert Height, who's his son-in-law, Graham Rahal, his son-in-law, and Autumn Height, his granddaughter.
Well, he's 70 years old, for crying out loud.
Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, I figure, across the board, their entire family's got to be worth about $50 million. The whole team. Yeah. Ashley Force, $3 million. So I thought that drag racers made a lot more money than that. They just don't, and I think it's just because sponsorship dollars are tight. The motorsports, world. Tell you what, you want to make some money? Drive F1. They make more than baseball players.
Do they really?
Oh, they make stupid money. And you know who told me that? It's David Hamburger.
Really?
Yeah, world champion Lewis Hamilton, net worth $280 million.
Wow, I had no idea.
David Hamburger, being a big fan of F1 racing, from SVE.
Sure.
He told me this was probably 15, 20 years ago. Wow. But yeah, I mean that's where the money is F1. Crazy. But I guess John Force can afford the $150,000. I hope it was worth it to him. I would rather that he just send me the money.
Yeah, here's his reality show. A&E's reality show, Driving Force.
That's what it was, yeah.
With wife Lori and 3 daughters, Ashley, Courtney, and Brittany. That was premiered in 2006. Wow.
Can't believe it's been that long. Oh, well. Oh, boy. I keep saying I want to go to an NHRA race because it's been way too long since I have. And I keep...
Do you have
life
any
life gets in the way.
Facilities in Nashville?
No. There's a eighth mile track, like 8 miles from my house, and I've been there a couple times. One for the Music City Camaro Club meet, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
Shout out to those guys. I haven't heard from them in a while. And then there's Bowling Green, which is 40 minutes north of me, which is a heck of a lot better drive than from my house to Milan, or God forbid Stanton.
Yeah, no kidding.
Or Ubley. So
I've never been to Lapeer. I've heard about it.
I never have either. I've heard about it. I heard that they completely redid it. It's like a
good,
legitimate drag strip.
Because
now.
I heard it was just a crap hole.
Yeah. Yeah. I was never there, but I guess they completely redid it, and everybody's like, "Oh, it hooks." I'm like, yeah. It's also like drag racing down somebody's dirt road driveway.
Remember Detroit Dragway?
I was just going to mention that too. That place was just a hole.
It'd be like, wow.
But it hooked too. It was,
Yeah.
And then there's the what was the one there, that the drag strip that you and I visited one day that was in Port Huron? The remains of it.
Oh yeah, that was in St. Clair. Yeah, what was it? It was called the Motor City Dragway. We snuck in there. Oh my God.
It wasn't much sneaking. We just kind of walked through the weeds.
We walked through weeds that were like 12 feet high. Found in the old. Did we even see any part of the track? We saw that there was towers and stands and stuff like that, but
there was you could see like bits and pieces of the track from excuse me, from through the weeds. Like you had to. I was like, hey, oh, look, I'm standing on the track. It wasn't extremely obvious. There's a couple of old buildings and gosh, it's, see, what was it? Actually, I'm just doing Google searches while we're talking. You can probably tell. There's dragstriplist.com. If you go to Michigan, Capital City Airport drag strip, 1952, Livonia drag strip. Partington drag strip, Sterling Heights, 1953.
Oh my God.
Central Michigan Dragway, Mid-Michigan Motorplex, that one's still around. Kellogg Airfield, Reynolds Field, Frandor Shopping Center in Lansing. I saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind at the Frandor movie theater.
No kidding.
Let's see. Yeah, New Baltimore. That's the Motor City Dragway. Yep, 1957. Tecumseh, Detroit Dragway, 1959. Muskegon, Then there's Onondaga, US 131 in Martin, Milan, Ubly, Rayco Dragway, Tri-City Dragway. Then there's Lapeer in Manistee County, northern Michigan, and then Nix US 41 in Ishpeming, Michigan.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's in the UP.
That's pretty cool. It's sorry, going down memory lane, but drag racing was a lot bigger than it was. I mean, I'm looking at probably 25, 30 drag strips, but there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left in Michigan.
That's because everything's been, it's been built up, and the drag race, all the drag race strips were in like rural areas. Now all those places have houses in them.
Yep, everybody moved there. I wonder what Tennessee had. Since we're here, since we're talking about it, let's see what we had. Tennessee, come on, load website, load. There's a ton. There's probably close to 40 of them. And there's still a bunch.
Oh, Memphis. Where we go to Memphis every year?
There's 13 of them still. And one is Music City Raceway right here in Goodlettsville. Cool. You guys got any drag race memories, drag strip memories, or ever sneak into an abandoned drag strip or anything like that? Give us a call. Let's talk about that a little bit. It's fun to talk about that sort of thing. Or or just your best drag strip memory. Hopefully it's not one of you eating it at the end of the track.
God.
So, Chris, what's your best drag strip memory?
My best drag strip memory is probably going to Memphis, because that was even though I'd gone to Milan before, Memphis was big time, when we drove down there with part of the fbody.org group and we did the racing there. That was the first time you were at a real racetrack, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Aside from Milan and Detroit Dragway. Yeah, that was.
Yep. Gosh, there was a lot in California. It looks like 60 or 70 of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, see how huge California is.
Yep. Some of them still in there. God, I was going to say one more thing before we bailed here. This is a neat website, dragstriplist.com.
Cool.
It's just a cool basic website. It's just got, there's a bunch of pictures of classics in the 50s and everything. I think my best drag strip memory, as I was going to say, is when my dad first took me to the drag strip, the Martin Dragway, US 131, in Michigan there, and I met Don Garlitz. I remember meeting him when I was I was 4 or 5 years old tops, and I remember meeting Don Garlitz because I already knew him by Big Daddy.
Okay,
that's what they called him. So it was pretty cool. I think that was it.
Good memories.
first time.
Wow. Well, you know what we got going on here next weekend? We got the Woodward Dream Cruise happening next weekend.
Oh, boy.
August 17th, biggest cruise in the world, biggest collection of cars that come from all over the continent of Earth. I mean, the planet Earth. Like, I remember meeting people from Australia and Sweden who brought their cars over here just so they could cruise on the legendary Woodward Avenue.
Isn't that nuts?
And I know, and it's funny, and I will admit this, I take it for granted because it's in my own backyard.
Yeah.
But car people I've met before from, as far away as, Florida, Texas, California, they're like, oh my God, that is like on my bucket list of my life to be able to bring my car to Michigan and cruise in the Woodward Dream Cruise. It's crazy. Yes, it's gotten big and commercialized and stuff like that, but it is a collection of things you want to see and things you don't want to see driving down the road.
Yeah. Some weird things that you never thought you'd see.
4x4 DeLoreans.
4x4 what?
DeLoreans.
Or 4x4 bathtubs.
Yeah. Then there's this car that looked like a giant Newport that had circuit boards glued to the entire car. The hood.
Oh, that's right.
The every panel on the car looked like it had a circuit board glued to it. Mm-hmm. But then you'll see rare, super rare, Copo Camaros.
Mm-hmm. Just driving down. So at least they get some light of day.
Supercars,
Yeah. Gosh, you know what? I was thinking about that. People bringing their cars over because I know that in some countries, it's like probably 100 miles before somebody else has a car that's in your circle. or 100 kilometers or whatever the clicks or whatever they measure.
Yeah.
You know, we're really fortunate. You know, we can go anywhere and see a Corvette or a Camaro or a Mustang or something.
Right.
Not too far away. More so in Detroit than here in Tennessee. But either way, you know, like there's no drag strips. Some people just can't race their cars or cruise their cars because there's nowhere to do it.
Right.
So yeah, it was it's cool to see some of that stuff. God, I kind of wish I was up there to see it.
This is going to be the 25th anniversary of the Dream Cruise. Dude, remember me and you just sitting on the side of the road with your Jeep hatch popped or whatever, and just sitting there, and or meeting you up at the IHOP with your 96 SS and trying to figure out how to get you to park when you were in traffic there. You were with your buddy Jimmy, who had a Corvette.
Jimmy Del Duca. Yeah. I mentioned Jimmy in previous podcasts. He's the one that had that Doug Rippey ZR1.
Doug Rippey, oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Doug Rippey still is doing great business. In fact, he's widely regarded. He makes the best revalved C6 Corvette shocks.
No kidding.
He takes Bilsteins and he modifies them to his specs, and they're supposed to be phenomenal. People swear by him. Yeah, he's still doing great business. But Jimmy, last time I heard, he had a C6 ZR1. I'm kind of surprised that he doesn't have a C7 ZR1. If he does, I don't know about it because I only talked to him on Facebook, and I haven't talked to him in 2 years on Facebook. Wow. But I'm quite sure he'll get a C8. He was the first Corvette dude I ever really knew.
That was cool.
Yep.
So if you guys are going to be in the Detroit area next weekend, well, you know where everybody's going to be. They're going to be on Woodward, cruising from 8 Mile down to 20 Mile, and don't avoid that area if you don't like cars.
Yeah. Cool.
Sponsored now by Ford, since
Chevrolet said we don't need you.
Chevrolet gave that up. So Ford is now the official sponsor of the Woodward Dream Cruise for the 25th anniversary. Wow. It's crazy.
Can't believe it's been 25 years.
I know.
Then again, I can't believe it's been 20 years since I've been on my first date with my wife.
Freaking old. We're old.
I know. It's too funny.
It's been around forever.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go get some breakfast.
That's cool. I'm going to go try an Impossible Whopper.
Oh, yeah? Text me and let me know how it is. We'll talk about it next week.
I will. Until next week, guys, we'll see you then. Yep. Thanks for listening to The Camaro Show.
Don't forget, drop us a voicemail at 586-486-3182.
We'll see you next week. See ya.